I remember being at a tournament and my dad would be watching me, and if I wasn't playing well, I remember specifically times I would look in the stands and he would throw his keys on the ground because I wasn't doing well. And there's even times that he left me there. To my dad wanting to live his life through me and my brother as far as sports go. I remember thinking, I can't really be good enough to make my dad proud, but I know what I am good at. And so I began to experiment with everything, parties, women. Things just continued to go downhill. I'd say I probably went to jail probably 30, 40 times between 16 to 20 or so. And then the age of 21 was a big year for me. A friend introduced me to a drug called heroin. And I remember first day I tried it, he put a needle in my arm and I shot up. And from that day forward, I did not miss a day for the next 3 years. So I began to steal. I stole my dad's wedding ring and pawned that, and I can never get that back. I'll never get that back. That's the place I went in my addiction. And it got worse when they didn't have anything left to steal. I began to kick people's doors in and rob people's houses. That's the first time in my life I had done every other drug, done all kinds of stuff. It was the first time something just had a grip on me that I could not escape. I called my buddy up. We decided we were going to shoot up, and I decided to go first. Instantly overdose. He said my face was blue, my lips were blue. He goes downstairs, wakes my parents up. So at this point, they decided to call 911. And so then they get there, and next thing I remember just opening my eyes, and I'm on the floor. It wasn't for several years later, after I began to follow the Lord, I remember standing in the shower one day, and God spoke to me, and God told me, He said, you actually died. You are dead. I mean, that was a huge revelation for me about that. Like, God, why'd you spare me, the worst one? As I watched so many of my friends die. I remember thinking this has to come to an end. Almost like crying out to God, and didn't even know I was crying out to God, like, please end this. But shortly after that, He ended that for me. He had the cops come pick me up. I actually had a choice. I could have taken 3 years probation, or I could take 2 years in prison and have some court fines. And God gave me the clarity to say I need to go to prison. And it's the only way I'll stop. And crazy as this sounds, being in prison was the most peaceful time I'd had in a long time. I was still bucking the system, but God was using that time to just give me a little bit of clarity. I've tried to fix my life in every way possible, except for God. And I remember one night, I just was alone in a room. I said, God, if you're real, I need something different. I need you, and help me. I began to go to church for the first time when it actually meant something, and my life just began to change, man. That was a little over 4 years ago. I have learned over the last 4 years the value of true community inside a church, and I realize people are not perfect inside of a church because there's people like me in there. But man, to live amongst other people that are following the same Jesus and we're fighting and struggling together, it's a beautiful thing, man. I look back on my life and think about all the times He spared me and all the stuff that He's brought me through, and then all the stuff that He's given me back that I don't deserve. God gave me a wife and has given me a son and a home to live in. He's taken addictions for the world out of me, given me a desire for Him, and He most recently surprised us with a new baby. We will be having a baby in October. But God's just been really good, man. Life is not just completely easy. I still have a lot of struggles. I'm still extremely selfish. But God has placed His Spirit inside of me. I was reading Psalms 139 this morning. David says, where can I go from your presence? Where can I run from your Spirit? And I just thank God that that's the truth, because if there was a way to escape, I probably would wander off. But God doesn't do that to us. And so, I don't know, man. I would just say to the person that thinks that God cannot change them, if He can change me, trust me, He can change you. It's just absolutely true, man. As simple as it is. If He can change me, He can change anyone.